All right, so pressure injuries 101, bed sores 101. Pressure injury is skin breakdown on a pressure point. So when I say pressure injury or pressure point, I want you to think anywhere the bones hit the bed or the chair, right? The pressure from the bone is pushing on that skin, which is pushing against something. A lot of times it's the bed, a lot of times it might be the chair, and that's where we're gonna have the biggest area of breakdown. So on my buddy Giannis here, we're going to talk about when we're looking at him, right? I would love you to inspect the skin on your loved one every single day. If someone's incontinent, you know, they go to the bathroom whenever it's, you know, and they're changing their diaper or their brief, it's a lot easier to just do a quick skin check when you're doing that. So Giannis here on our bed. We're going to talk about where we have breakdown on Giannis. So always going to check the back of somebody's head. Especially if they're laying and they're not moving very often, you get a lot of injuries on the back of their head. Then you're just gonna work your way down. Here's my spine. If they're really skinny, they don't have great nutrition, you might see some breakdown on their spine. If they have bony little elbows. Biggest spot right here on their butt, right? Sacrum, buttocks, coccyx, their tailbone, you're gonna have a lot of breakdown there. Especially if they're incontinent, you're gonna have to be a little, you know, a little more vigilant with those areas. So now I work down the way of my butt. If someone keeps their legs crossed a lot in bed, get Giannis up a little bit here. Right, maybe their knees touch together, so those knees pushing together, you can have some skin breakdown between their knees. So you're just gonna take a little pillow. I don't know what to do with my pillow. Here it is. Take your pillow, this is my makeshift pillow for Giannis, and then you're just gonna put it between their knees to pad. All right, so I'm padding between his legs here. If there's anything weird that you can see down there that I don't want you to see. All right, so then also if his heels, so let's say Giannis is back on his back. If I had a bed that actually fit Giannis, that would be great. So heels and sacrum or butt, the number 1 and 2 areas of skin breakdown. So here, I'm looking at Giannis's heels, all right? Biggest thing, I'm gonna put a pillow under them. I don't know if you can really tell, but now his heels are off the bed. So we call this floating the heels. So if I can't, his heels aren't touching the bed, there's no pressure on the heels, so there's not gonna be any breakdown there. So you wanna float the heels like that. That's always important too, right? And then especially if he's on his sides a lot, you're gonna watch these hips depending on how he lays. Some people just love to lay on a certain side, so you're gonna watch that side and even their ear. All right, watch their ears if they get breakdown on their ears. Also, if someone uses oxygen, you can get a lot of pressure injuries or skin breakdown behind the ears. You're gonna take a peek there. Or if they wear a BiPAP or oxygen mask at night, watch the nose. All right, so those are your big areas. My nose, my ears, the back of my head, going down my spine, also my shoulder blades. All right, especially if they're bony, they don't have a lot of great nutrition. You're gonna watch your shoulder blades, my elbows, gonna work my way down my spine, your sacrum, your buttocks, and then of course your heels. So if you can watch those spots every day, that's the best thing to do. And easiest thing to do, I say easy, but it's really not that easy. You're just moving and repositioning, right? They're laying in bed here, move them a little every couple hours this way, move them a little that way. They might fight you. Chances are, you know, a lot of times people might fight us on the moving and rolling. I'm just gonna roll them a little bit. I'm gonna put a pillow behind him so it keeps him kind of propped up. So see how he's at a little bit of an angle, he's not flat. So if I roll him, I put a pillow here, keep him on their side. Just keeps pressure off these areas for a little bit. So every few hours, you're gonna move them around. Doesn't have to be drastic this way. Even just a little bit of movement helps. Keep those heels off the bed. Watch your elbows. And that's that. All right, thanks. We'll see you next time.